What's happening, guys? James Blunt here with MMOHuts.com. I'm standing here with Hunter for Dawngate.
Hi.
And what do you do for Dawngate?
I'm the creative director of Dawngate, so I'm in charge of design and fiction, and I help out all the leads on the team make Dawngate happen.
So, for those of you who have not seen Dawngate just yet, tell us a little bit about what makes Dawngate unique. What features does it hold?
Dawngate, our goal, like just starting out in the project, was we want to make a contribution to the MOBA genre. We don't want people to say like, oh, this is a clone or something like that. So we looked at like the fundamental deep bits of MOBA gameplay, and tried to figure out what could we change, what can we not change, what is endemic to the genre, and where are places and opportunities to change. So we looked particularly at the map. The map is the star of any MOBA game. It's the thing that you spend thousands of hours mastering. So we definitely wanted to change it up. So Dawngate is a 2-lane map that's got 4 spirit wells on it. And the spirit wells are these economy objectives that sort of harken back to the RTS roots of the MOBA gameplay. So they will spawn like these little workers, and you can go out and clear workers and economy harass and capture these bases. So that sort of is a lot of the PvE elements that we've added that all motivate PvP. Early on in the beta process, we had a bunch of these things we added, and they were just PvE focused for the sake of PvE, and that was not what we wanted. So now we've done things like there's the boss fight at the end of the game, the big guardian, and he tries to help the losing team.
That guy will wreck you.
That guy will wreck your face, but he's all skill shot based, right? So we wanted people, if they're alone, to be able to juke all of his abilities and take him down. That's the PvE to motivate PvP part of it is if you have like a hook or if you have a stun or something like that, you can definitely like lock somebody into one of those abilities and burn them down. So it's like fighting on the side of a raid boss, but the raid boss can't do can't reach his full potential unless you're working sort of in concert with him. So a lot of those things we sort of figured out over the course of our beta. Also, something really important about Dawngate is the idea that we've got this really flexible metagame that's based around the role system, which is if you have a character that you really like playing, they can be successful in a variety of roles. And also, team compositions can have a lot of different roles on them. So we've got things like Tactician, which is somebody who focuses on harassment. And we've got Gladiator, which is somebody who focuses on last hitting. And you can have any combination of like these 4 roles that you want. Some things are hard, like everybody in the jungle. Oh, your lanes are getting pushed. That's bad.
And the neat thing is you can choose these roles prior to the game actually starting up.
Right, exactly. So you can run things like a single lane, a tri-lane, and double jungle, and that'll work because those people in that tri-lane, 1 person can pick Gladiator, 2 people can pick Tactician and focus on harass, and the game's going to support you and allow everybody to scale just by doing their role really well. So that was one of the biggest things that we wanted for Dawngate, and that's what we've been staying in beta, like revving on that stuff to make sure that it's real and it allows you all those options.
I also heard that there is ways to retaliate in the game really nicely. The comeback sort of option in the game, like towers respawn and things like that.
Right, towers were respawning at the beginning of beta, and we had some challenges with that. It was causing. We had 2 big things that we ended up fixing through beta. One of them was snowballing was too hard. It's just too strong. Like the person who got the first binding, things were going to get momentum from there really seriously. And the other thing was that there was too much turtling. So we ended up actually putting our big wave pushing mechanic onto the center objective, the parasite. He scales up scales up in power over time. Sorry, and when you take him down, you gain these really powerful guys named Striders that'll go down the wave and cleave minions and help you push. So it's actually, if you're losing, that's a really meaningful objective for you to try to steal from the enemy, as opposed to that momentum just sort of barreling down on you and having no way to get back. So we definitely want that feeling of comebacks. So work with that raid boss, grab Parasite, and those are all sorts of ways that you can get back in the game.
Awesome. So there's definitely a lot of communication involved. How is the communication in the game set up? Can you just freely talk to everybody? Is there commands set up to where VVGG that sort of set up?
We've got Chat, absolutely. We've got a ping wheel, and we've got a lot of contextual pings. Something that I actually really like is we have VO for every character on every ping type. Just like, take down the binding, and you like feel particularly badass when you're doing those pings. But that's working for us right now. You know, you get a lot of questions like, are you going to integrate VoIP in game? And things like that are things that you need to do like very carefully and figure out exactly what you want. So we're trying to listen to figure out what our beta players really like there. But so far, our like contextual ping system's working really well.
Awesome. So I know that you're really focused on this primary map, but are there any game modes that are in the workings or even been thought of?
We're focusing 100% on the core experience because, like I said, if it doesn't hold up to thousands of hours of depth and strategy, we don't feel like that's really like what MOBAs are all about. So everything that we've done is to focus in on that map and make sure that it's sort of got that razor's edge tuning that I think that if you have a lot of different maps that you're trying to do, it's too much of a burden of making everybody work fine all the time. That's really, really rough. So 100% on the Dawngate.
So let's kind of give a sort of a features list of the new Dawngate. Recently you just had a huge patch that basically Dawngate 2.0.
Right.
What's that all about?
So it was a lot of those two problems I was talking about, the turtling and the snowballing. We've got those that pushing power from the center objective added in there. We amped up that boss fight, and that boss fight is, you know, all there to motivate PvP, but we amped up the power of the Guardian's abilities like 10 or 20x. Like they will, if you take 3 ticks of one of those fire beams, you will be dead.
You think the towers are bad?
The towers are bad. That guy's serious, but he can't do it on his own, right? So you can like shield check someone across a fire line and they get trapped from their team, or you like stun somebody into one of those fire pools. That's really going to be like an awesome moment sort of at the end of the game of working in concert with the raid boss to take it down a team. We also did a complete revamp of all of our items in the game. We wanted to focus on items that made interesting counterplay choices. So practically every item in the game has unique passives that the goal of which are figure out great combinations that work with different kits, but also figure out over the course of a match, what are your interesting counterplays that this is going to be really great because that guy's fed and we can take him down. Those are things that we really like about MOBAs that have deep itemization is that you can feel really smart when you make that great counterplay and focus less on like, oh, I want to optimize, I want 10 more points of this stat versus this stat. We really focused on exciting visceral effects. So like there's one, Defiance, when you go below 25% health, all of your non-ultimate abilities refresh. And it's like hugely impactful, and like a tank getting that late game will totally allow him to chain his CC together and like be this complete badass that can lock down endgame fights. And that's not, we didn't have anything quite that impactful before. We have like items that give you a passive charge when you do a basic attack. So if you're someone who has trouble gap closing, you can pick that up, basic attack on somebody, you'll charge in and get that first attack off, and it'll go on cooldown. So all of those really visceral things allow you a lot more choices in the item gameplay. That's one of the reasons we've stayed in beta for so long, right? Is to figure out all of this gameplay and get all that beta feedback.
And so the game is free to play and currently in a
community beta. Community beta is you don't require a code to play Dawngate. Just go to dawngate.com and grab it and download, make an account. We don't have a date set for what is technically open beta or launch. We're just focusing, on iteration 100%, and now coming up to speed with features like, working on bots and working on those other things that people would want and expect. And up to this point, it's all been core game mode.
Awesome. So what is the primary focus right now of going forward?
For our team, we feel really good about core gameplay. As I said, I want to work even harder to make sure that all characters can be played in all roles. Like that's just the dream to me. And we're like 75% of the way there. There are some people who can't quite jungle yet, even though you pick jungle and things like that. but also, working on tools to bring in new players, things like bots and tutorials and progression, and those things are totally a dev focus right now.
Well, awesome. The game looks great as it is, and really appreciate you telling us the update.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Pleasure.